Alright, here we are, and it's actually Christmas Day. We just finished up Christmas, and we're getting ready to talk about New Year's and New Year's resolutions. We're finishing up 2009, going on 2010. So I'd just like to ask you a few questions. First of all, how would you rate this year, all the events that happened? Was it a good year for you, average, or how would you rate it?
I think this year was a good year, busy as usual. But I think it was good because I think it's a new period in my life. I see at the end of the year I've come to make some decisions. As we get into New Year resolutions, one thing I want to do is to go into this new year with a lot of energy and get a lot of rest. That means to get to bed early, pay attention, to take care of my health. And also I'd like to really advance myself financially and build up a business. And I'm looking towards working to really getting a new home. I'd like to get a real nice home and get you back into school to get you an education. So this year I look as an opportunity, a new start, kind of, as far as changing my position, going from just a normal everyday job and bringing in a salary to advancing my financial position, and at the same time taking care of myself so that I can take care of my family.
So now looking back at 2009, are there any big moments you remember in particular, anything that happened that may have changed your way of thinking or your course of action, anything that you would do differently?
Well, I don't think there's anything spectacular happened this year except just accumulation of things over the years that make you think, and you learn from the past, and you look at where you are, where you're going, what you've done, and you say, wait, I've got to do better. I've got to push on. I've got to accomplish more. I've got to be more focused on those things which are important in life. And that's where I think I am right now.
Great. Okay. So also looking back at 2009, from an entertainment perspective, as a sports fan, any let's see, who would you consider to be team of the year, athlete of the year, game of the year, anything like that?
Well, I basically, I guess, being a Florida football fan, I think Tim Tebow was probably one of the greatest athletes I've ever seen, ever lived, that's ever played college football. And I know there's a lot of skeptics out there, but even this year, even though they say he didn't play that well, but he still managed to snuff out Herschel Walker's touchdown records, and he continued to lead his team to a victorious season, which is hard to do playing in the Southeast Conference. So I really think it was a crushing blow to him to lose in the Alabama game. I think basically that, on the other hand, had Florida prepared, that they had the potential to turn around and beat Alabama, just as they did when they turned around and beat FSU and went on to win the championship game. I know a lot of people don't see that, but I see him as a great athlete, and he scored his mark and has become a great athlete in spite of all the naysayers. I think they're wrong, and in a way, history has already proved that he is, and that there's not much they can say.
Very good. Okay. Now we're going into 2010. What are your expectations, your hopes, and how do you think it will be different than 2009?
Well, I think we're coming into a grave time in history. We're going to see our taxes go way up. We've got a very dangerous man that is in political power right now, and this has been planned by the big men in the one world government, so it doesn't take us by surprise. and yet you look and you say, how am I going to survive? God, come and rescue us from this impending disaster which we feel is coming upon us. And I know most liberals don't realize what's going on. They don't understand about one world government. They don't understand that the prophecies of the Bible are true. But I think we're in that period of history. I wish we weren't. And so I'm just trying to think, how am I going to survive? How am I going to help us to survive as a family? How can I make more money? We need a miracle from God, and I'm hoping that our country it truly is a country that has God's hand on it. Little things like, when they were talking about the warming trend, the climate change that we're warming up, which is a big hoax and a lie, which they like to. Now they're not talking about it that way because they have been caught in the lie, and they know they have, but still they're going to go on being the good little liberals they are, and they're going to deny the truth and say, now it's just a weather change. So they change the language, and they control what they think, they control what is politically correct, so that whatever they say is politically correct, and anything that we say they don't like, they can say, well, that's not politically correct. So I think, I'm hoping that God will have his hand on this country and somehow help us to survive. And my prayer, my wish is that somehow that all this wild spending that's gone on, which I think is purposely, that the people can come into power in some way miraculously by hard work and by planning it. They can overthrow this and reverse the negative effects which have come upon us and are still growing upon us every day with the legislation for more and more wild, ridiculous spending, which is going to put the future generations in bondage financially.
Thank you very much for that opinion.